Imagine standing before a dry stone monument, knowing that in exactly 3 weeks, a massive deluge will swallow the landscape. No satellites, no radar, just rocks. Modern forecasting relies on digital certainty. We expect to open our phones and see exactly when the first drops will hit, based on a stream of invisible data. Providing that accuracy requires a global network of orbiting satellites and supercomputers, processing billions of data points every second. Yet in local traditions across India, a 1,000-year-old temple is said to forecast these same storms with shocking precision, long before the first circuit board was ever etched. Reconciling this stone structure with modern meteorological accuracy forces us to look past the mythology. We have to consider whether ancient architects possessed a command of the atmosphere that we are only now beginning to decode. On the subcontinent, the monsoon acts as a ticking clock for survival. When these massive storm fronts blacken the sky, they carry the water that sustains over 1 billion people. For an ancient farmer, success was measured in days. Missing the exact window for planting meant the seeds would bake in the sun or be swept away by floods. A single miscalculated forecast triggered a cascading failure, ruined harvests, collapsed trade, and the death of entire kingdoms. Because their existence depended entirely on anticipating the sky, these civilizations were forced to find a way to make the earth itself speak. Local stories describe a strange phenomenon where the temple walls physically sweat or bleed moisture just before the rains arrive. While this sounds like folklore, the physical reality is grounded in the laws of barometric pressure and thermodynamics. Built from porous sandstone, the temple reacts to approaching storm fronts. A sudden spike in atmospheric humidity causes the stone to pull microscopic water droplets from the air. At saturation, moisture is forced to the surface as visible condensation, days before clouds appear. Every curve and groove in these intricate carvings increases the stone's surface area, turning the entire structure into a massive, low-tech barometer. The magical sweating stone is actually a highly calibrated scientific instrument, operating passively through the architecture itself. Another enduring story tells of a low hum or a whisper that echoes through the halls when the sky is still clear. Meteorologists understand that predictable seasonal winds shift their direction just as a monsoon front approaches. The corridors are aligned to catch these specific pre-monsoon shifts, funneling the air through narrow architectural choke points. As the stone walls compress the moving air, the frequency increases, turning a subtle change in the breeze into an audible alarm for those inside. This acoustic engineering suggests the builders were deliberately designing the temple to translate invisible atmospheric shifts into a physical experience. Using humidity and wind provides the warning, but pinpointing the exact day of the storm requires a broader context. The temple's physical orientation is aligned with seasonal cloud formations and the migration patterns of local wildlife. By cross-referencing moisture on the stone, the sound of the wind, and the position of the clouds, the community accessed a multi-sensory warning system. However, the most sophisticated part of this system isn't the stone or the corridors. The temple itself doesn't actually predict the weather. The architecture provides the signals, but the true forecasting computer is the human mind, trained to interpret them. Over centuries, the temple functioned as a focal point where environmental data met collective memory. By centering their daily rituals around a building that reacted to the atmosphere, the community was forced to become hypersensitive observers of their surroundings. Interpreting the sweat on a carving or the pitch of a breeze became a skill passed from parent to child, ensuring that local environmental knowledge was never lost. The building didn't need to be smart. It was designed to ensure the people were. It acted as a repository for the wisdom required to survive the changing seasons. We have traded that integrated observation for the convenience of a digital display, looking at screens rather than the world around us. Even with our advanced tools, we still find ourselves vulnerable when the raw power of nature breaks through our infrastructure. There was once a deeper connection to the environment, one that was built directly into the foundations of ancient society. We are left to marvel at the forgotten genius of ancestors who could read the world with nothing but stone and shadow.